Welcome to this week's live Monday Music Motivation. For this week's Monday Music Motivation, I kind of wanted to get back to the roots a little bit about what this is all about. And really, it's all about helping you to plan your practice for the week, make sure that you have a fantastic week of practice. So I wanted to talk about the power of planning today for today's live Monday Music Motivation. So when it comes to planning, I think it's one of those things that seems like a good idea. Like we all know it's a good idea to have a plan and to be organized. But I think sometimes we don't understand fully the power of planning and how truly beneficial planning can be. So that's kind of what I wanted to dive into and give you some ideas and some things to think about for why planning can truly be so powerful in your practice. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that whether we plan or not, time is still moving by and we're still moving. I kind of like to think of this as an analogy of sort of a road trip. And it's not a road trip that has a specific destination. It's not like your commute to work where you're going to work and all you want to do is get to work and the commute is just the means to get to the end. This is a different kind of road trip. This is one of those road trips where you pack everything up. You don't know exactly where you're going, but you're just like, I want to drive and see where I end up kind of road trip, which I've never actually done in my life, but it seems very relaxing, but maybe stressful. But anyways, for this road trip, we're sort of in that way. And as clarinetists, as musicians in our practice life, we're always on the road. There is no destination. There maybe are checkpoints along the way, getting into an honor band, getting into a community band, getting into college, winning an audition, winning a competition. There's those checkpoints along the way that feel good to get to, but we're always on the road and it's a constant journey. So that's a sort of undeniable fact about how practicing works and our practicing and music journeys is we're always on the road. Now the question is, where are you on the road? How are you going on the road? It's inevitable that we are on the road, but you have two options then. You can set your sights somewhere and move with purpose somewhere, or you can just sort of wander around aimlessly. There's a lot of people in their music journeys who've maybe been playing for years and years and years, but they're only driving around the same town. They do the same exercises, they play the same pieces, and they have the same problems always for maybe their entire playing life. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to be somebody who just sort of sits where you're at and sort of are a bit of a stagnant player, I know that sounds bad, and personally I wouldn't want to be a stagnant player, but there's nothing wrong with it. If you're comfortable playing in your community band, playing at the level that you're playing at, and you want to stay there forever, nothing wrong with that. You can get lots of joy, and there's lots of people who like to sort of stay in that comfort zone. But if you want to get out of that comfort zone, you have to plan. You have to steer the car off of the side roads going around the city, get on the interstate, and start aiming for a different city and a different milestone and a different level of playing. So that's why planning's so important, because without a plan, without an idea that I clearly want to go somewhere else, then you're always going to be sort of stuck in that same spot, just repeating the same habits over and over and over. And that's where the template that we do for the Monday Music Motivations are practice templates. That's why that's so important and so helpful to have something to guide yourself and sort of plan and set your intention and set your direction. There's a few other really big benefits of planning that are sort of incorporated into this that I want to talk about as well. So if you're unfamiliar with the template, you can go to quickstartclarinet.com/get started. Here, I'll go over here in the light. quickstartclarinet.com/get started and get this exact template. Or you can just make it yourself. It's the date for the week. You could also do the date for the day if you want to be a little bit more intensive about it, which there's nothing wrong with that. Reflection on how things are going, goal for the week or the day, and then your plan for exactly when you're going to practice, what you're going to practice. For me, I just do it weekly because I'm not super nitty gritty. Sometimes getting too into the details slows me down. So I just like to have my general direction for the week, and that works well enough for me. But again, customize it however you want. But these components are the important part. We start with the reflection. The reflection is our time to check in with how things are going, see where we're currently at, see the things that are going well, see the things that aren't going as well as we'd like. And then from that reflection, once we've gotten honest about where we are, we can see what we're doing now, is that getting us to the goal that we want? And then when we set the goal and have clarity on the goal, that points us in the right direction. That gets us turned onto the right road to get us to that next checkpoint that we're looking for in our road trip of musicianship. So by doing that goal, we can either tackle what's not going well based on what we've reflected on, or if everything's going well, we can set our sights on the next checkpoint and move forward. So that goal is really us pointing in the right direction. But if we don't put gas in the car, if we don't get our snacks, go to the bathroom and get ready to actually move in that direction, then we're not going to get anywhere. And that's where the plan part comes in. The plan is where you actually look at the map, see when you're going to do these things, see where you're actually going in your practice, and make that goal become a reality. So we have our reflection of what's going well, what needs work, our goal sort of based off of that. Okay, this is where I'm at in the reflection. This is where I want to be heading. I'm pointing the direction. And then our plan gives us the specifics of how we're going to make that goal happen this week. And the most important part of the plan is not to just write it down here. Once you have it written down and know what you're doing, then you need to go and you need to put that into your calendar, put it into your planner, make it happen. That's like doing the actual driving. And then of course, practicing is also doing the actual driving. But if you just look at the map and say, oh yeah, I want to go to this next town. Yeah, that sounds great. And then you just sit there and you don't actually get in the car and go, then you're not going to make it. So putting it in your schedule, setting reminders so you actually stick to those practice times is going to be super important. And then you have your plan and you know which direction you need to be going and what you need to be doing in those practice things. And next thing you know, by the end of the week, you'll be in a new place. You'll be able to reflect again on, this is really where I am. And then you set the next destination and you keep moving forward rather than getting stuck in the same rut of just your habits and repetitions over and over. So that's the power of planning. I want to give one little bonus idea as well that makes this really powerful for our brains. When we write out our list and our plan and we have that goal, then at the end of the week, we can sort of check that off either literally on your template or metaphorically and just know that you accomplished that. That gives our brain a huge surge of dopamine. The planning, I'm going to do this, then actually following through and doing it and getting done and saying, yep, I did it. That rewards our brain. It's like giving our brain a little piece of candy and it's saying, oh yes, I did it. I achieved what I said I was going to achieve. And then that reinforces that we want to do that more. And that's when we can really start snowballing. And again, that's another power of planning. When we actually have a plan and then we actually execute it, our brain loves that and wants to do more of it. And then when you want to do more of it, then you can keep moving forward. And next thing you know, on your metaphorical musical road trip, you may have traversed the entire country or continent rather than just sort of getting stuck in your little small town of habits that you're always stuck with. So hopefully that gives you some new insights and a new way to look at the power of planning. Go fill out your template. Hopefully now you know why it's so important to do it. Again, you have the link in the description, quickstartclarinet.com/get started to get the exact template, or you can recreate it for yourself. But reflect, get honest about what's going well, where you're at, what truly is your current situation. Set your goal. Where do you want to be? And it doesn't have to be a big goal. It's just a weekly goal, a daily goal. What is the next step in the process based on where you are? What's your next step? Where do you want to be headed? Point yourself in that direction. plan it out, put it in your schedule, do the work, check it off, give that brain that dopamine reward, and you're gonna have a great week of practice. And that's what I'm here for every Monday, is to hopefully encourage you and give you that motivation and inspiration and action plan to have a great week of practice. So I hope that this was helpful and insightful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or other thoughts about this. I hope that you're feeling the power of planning. I hope that you fill out your template and implement the power of planning in your practice routine. I hope that you have a great week of practice, a great week in general, and I will see you next week on the next Live Monday Music Motivation. Happy practicing, everybody.